Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Irene, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how I do my everyday makeup that works really well under having to wear a mask for our current pandemic. So this is the finished makeup look. I'm filming this after I've done the tutorial, and it is quite a glowy look. So if you are interested to see how I achieve this look, then let's get started. We're gonna start off barefaced right now. I have nothing on except for my skincare. So in the mornings, I like to start off with a light serum, a sunscreen, and if I have time, like a little bit of eye cream. And then I move straight into my sunscreen. So the first step is this guy. This is the Peter Thomas RothMax Mineral, or Max, what is it? Yeah, Max Mineral Naked Broad Spectrum SPF 45. And this one is really good for me because I am allergic to chemical sunscreens, and this is SPF that is mineral, so I am not allergic to it. I do not get allergic reactions out of it. Another really good thing about this one is that it provides a tint. So if I show you guys on my hand here, I'll squeeze some out. This sunscreen has a tint, if you guys see that. It's a nice light tint, but I find that it really does even out my skin quite well. I apply this all over my face, and it really helps even out the redness, the inconsistencies essentially. Okay, so I've got the sunscreen on. Now my next step is always concealer. My NARS, what is this? The Creamy Radiant Concealer, and I use the color Custard, medium 1. And I use this under my eyes for coverage around my nose area and sometimes on my chin and forehead. This is what I use just to like really cover up the dark spots or any red spots. So I'm just going to move my mirror right here in front of me, and then I can see. So I'll put a few dabs here. I'm actually starting to run out of this one. I need to get my backup. So I'll do a few dabs here, a dab here, a little bit on my forehead, around my nose. Now notice that when I am applying my concealer, I am only applying it in the crevices. Here, here, and same on the other side, in those crevices and those nooks. I am avoiding the top of my nose up here. The reason being is because when you're wearing a mask, it sits right up there, and I don't want any additional product on there that can move around and be rubbed off and make it really kind of messy looking halfway through the day. So I will do that, and sometimes I'll do it just a little bit here and just call it good. So just down the center of my face essentially, and then I will take a sponge and blend it into the sunscreen. Even when I'm blending around my nose, I don't really bring any product up to the top of my nose because, again, avoiding that area for me is key. I find that it really makes my makeup look decent even though you're wearing a mask around all day. And even if you were to take off your mask for like lunch, for example, at work, it doesn't look like you've just got a bunch of makeup rubbed off. Around my eyes, I don't bring it down too far because I don't want it to get into the area where the mask is going to sit on my face and rub off. So I try to keep it in the vicinity that I had originally placed it in the first place. So again, right here, I will just move it mostly sideways. I'll try not to move it down further down here because that's where my mask will sit. I think the key right now for wearing makeup with a mask on is less is more, especially now with wearing a mask. The less you wear, the less that there is to move around and get rubbed off, and it just doesn't look as messy this way. So now that I have applied my concealer down kind of like the T-zone area of my face, I'm going to set it really quickly with this Hourglass Mineral Veil Loose Powder. And I'm just going to take a teeny tiny bit of this, so whatever's on here. It's a very finely milled powder, and it works really well. Even for my dry skin, I find that it doesn't really dry out my skin too much. I'm also going to take this fluffy brush and the small end. I'm going to tap a little bit, tap off extra, and I'll just gently pat down the areas that I had applied my NARS concealer. After setting down the areas that I just applied the concealer with the veil right here, the rest of my face, as you can see, it's still quite luminous from the sunscreen that I had applied as a base earlier. So what I like to do is I like to set that down a little bit. And my favorite that I have been using for years is the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish, and this is in the color medium plus. Sorry, it's a little dusty. It's literally what I use every single day. So then I'll flip this brush around from Hourglass, and I will use the big fluffy end, tap into here, and I will just set very gently kind of the areas that I haven't set down yet. And I find that because this has a tint to it, it almost acts like a powder foundation rather than just a setting powder, which I like a lot. And then it just evens out my skin tone, and it kind of matches the rest of my face to my neck, because I wear so much sunscreen on my face that my face tends to be a lot paler than the rest of my body, especially in the summertime. So this powder really helps to even everything out and match the rest of my body to my face. And just gently tapping. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but the sunscreen has a tendency to pill. The Peter Thomas Roth sunscreen, it has a tendency to pill. So if you're using that, or if you're looking to try it out, that's something to be aware of. I find that it pills more when you are applying a lot of skincare products underneath and you haven't let it dry sufficiently. It will pill more. I find that if you use too much rubbing motions, it will pill. So when I'm even applying like things on top of the sunscreen, which is everything else, I tend to do a tapping motion, a very gentle tapping motion. I don't rub and swirl, because for sure you will get tiny little bumps of sunscreen if you do that. So just be aware of that. Now we're gonna move in with some blush, and I am using this MAC blush. It's called Naturally Flawless. It looks like this. Again, it is dusty because I use it every single day. It is dirty. Don't mind my dirty makeup. So, as you can see, I am applying my blush quite heavily, and I am again using the tapping motion, not a swirling. And when I am tapping it in, I kind of bring it up a little bit just because I like the look of it, but you apply your blush however you want. As you can see, it is quite heavy. It's really bright. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and then I'm going to show you my biggest tip for making your blush look natural, which I do every single day. It's very quick, it's very easy, and it doesn't require you to use any additional product so that you're not building up anything too crazy on your face. So as you can see, my blush looks insane right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and calm it down and make it look very naturally blended and seamless. So earlier I had used this brush, this end, for the Hourglass loose powder. So I'm gonna take that, and I'm not adding any additional product. I'm just taking whatever is left in the brush, and I'm going over around my under eyes so that it blends in whatever blush is kind of in that vicinity. And then I'm gonna flip over to the big brush on the other end, and I'm gonna gently tap. Again, I'm not adding any additional product. This was what was used for the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish, and I'm just gonna tap in and really kind of blend in both the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish and the blush into one another. And this is the reason why I apply the blush a little bit more heavy-handed at the beginning, because after you do this blending process, it kind of takes some of it away and it blends it away. So you kind of want a little bit extra to work with so that when you're done blending, it still is very visible. The blush is still on your face. So if you compare this side that's kind of blended versus this side that's not, you can see that the blush on this end here, you can't really tell where it starts and ends, versus here you can see like right here is where I stopped the blush, and it's more it's less blended, I guess. So again, I will take this and just go in a gentle tapping motion and blend this into the rest of the powders that I've applied. I like to bring it even up to my forehead and down my chin and just kind of all over so that it kind of warms up the rest of my face as well. It's not just pale. And that that is how I apply my blush. And I find that when I do my blush this way and I really blend it in with that last step of just that quick over top blending, it makes my blush last a lot longer. Before I used to do this, my blush would wear out halfway through the day and I wouldn't see it anymore on my face, even though I used setting powders, setting sprays, things like that. When I do this step, I can see my blush even at the end of the day, even though I might have had it on for like 12, 14 hours, I can still see my blush on my face. So this step is key for me to keeping my blush on my face all day. So moving on, we are going to do my brows. I like to use the It Cosmetics Brow Powerful. I'm just gonna use this one today as well, just to fill in my brows quickly, and I'll be right back. Moving on, I'm going to do my eyes a little bit. Now, as you guys can clearly tell, I have eyelash extensions on. I have volume ones on, so they're quite thick. So lucky for me, I don't really need to do much in terms of eyeliner, mascara, false eyelashes, things like that. The only thing I like to do is, because these are volume eyelash extensions, which means they are quite full at the top, it kind of makes me feel like my eyes are uneven, a little bit unbalanced because there's nothing on the lower lash line. So what I like to do is, I take this Urban Decay Naked Petite Heat palette, and inside, again, it's going to be dusty and messy because I use it every single day. I like to use these two shades, so it is Vibrate and Hot Spell. These two, I mix them together with some sort of brush, some cheap eyeshadow brush. I have this one from e.l.f. And what I will do is I'll dip into these two, kind of back and forth, and I will apply it right along the lash line, about 80–90% of the way in, and avoiding the inner corner. So I will do that real quick here. And as you can see, it's already adding a little bit more definition to this eye versus this one that has nothing on it yet. Kind of brings some balance to it. So I've applied that those two shadows mixed together on both eyes now. What I like to do is, then I take in like a brush that has a little bit more of a tip, a little bit more precision to it, and I will go in with one of the deeper colors. So I go in with Strike, which is the darkest color on this end right here. I'll take a little bit of that, and what I will do is line my lash line with this. I've applied that little bit of dark Strike color along the lash line on this eye right here, and you can see that this eye looks a little bit more like it has a little bit more depth. So what I'm going to do is, after I do that, I'm just going to take this brush again that I had applied like just the two shadows, and I'm just kind of blending it a little bit together so it doesn't look like there's this harsh line. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference between the two eyes. This one just looks like it's got a little bit more depth to it than this one here. So I'm going to do the same thing onto this side, and I'll come right back. All right, last step for my eyes is I'm going to be taking the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette. This is the original palette, if I'm not mistaken. I know they've come up with several other shade ranges over the years, but I love this Backstage palette because the highlights in these, they pack a punch. You need very little for you to get like the effect that you want. Okay. So I'm gonna go in with another pointy brush, and I'm just gonna go in with these two shades at the top. I'm just kind of dabbing both and mix. And then I'm going to apply it into the inner corner, which we had left blank earlier from the shadow. So I'm just gonna do that here. And then I'm gonna put it right here on like the tear duct area to just really give your eyes a little bit of a sheen and a sparkle. All right, that's my eyes done. So this is what it looks like so far. I've kind of balanced out my eyes a little bit more, and we're almost done. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take an Anastasia, this is the Anastasia highlighting brush. I've got a hair stuck to it. And I'm gonna go back in here and dab between these two, and I will put a little bit of highlighter just at the top of my nose right here on the bridge. I'm not gonna go further down because what's the point? Your mask will cover it up. And then I'm gonna go a little bit under the brow and over the brow just for highlighting there. And again, a little bit here and here. And that is my makeup essentially done. Last step I'm going to do is I'm going to take a setting spray. My favorite that I've been using for years and years is the Urban Decay All Nighter Spray, and I've got the huge size. So I'm going to shake it up. Now if you have eyelash extensions, make sure you avoid spraying your eyelashes because these are not good for the retention. Probably shouldn't speak while I'm doing this. So I've just let the makeup setting spray kind of dry on my face. And when you look at my makeup right now, it still looks really luminous, really glowy. The key for wearing makeup under a mask is to keep it very light. That way it's less to move around and less to make a mess out of. And as you will notice, I'm not gonna do my lips. The reason being is because you're wearing a mask and I don't need that getting everywhere. So I will just go in with a lip balm. Sometimes I use Blistex. If I'm feeling a little bit fancier, I'll go in with my Laneige lip sleeping mask in the grapefruit flavor. And I will just apply this to my lips, keep it nice and moisturized. So apply this on. And I am literally good to go. So this is the final makeup look. I've done my eyes, the face is very nice and light, and the lips is just some sort of lip balm. It doesn't have to add any additional color, and this is what it looks like. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and that you guys found it somewhat helpful for wearing makeup under a mask. After trial and error, this is kind of what I've come up with what works for me and what works under a mask. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate your guys' support and all your kind words. If you guys did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to join our little community here. As always, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!